Hello and welcome to the March episode of the Sans Stay Ahead of Ransomware live stream. I'm Ryan Chapman. How you doing? And that person over there is my awesome co-host Mary DeGrazia. Mary, how you doing this month? I guess we just started the month. How did you do last month with all the things?
Wonderful. I did great. As you know, I'm out here in Tucson, Arizona, and the weather is finally starting to be somewhat normal for us. So that's always nice.
Okay, well, Mary's out of her mind. I didn't know that. For those who don't know, in Arizona, Mary, you're crazy. In Arizona, it hit over 90 degrees Fahrenheit at what, the 27th, 28th of February. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean because it's getting cooler now?
Well, for me, I like to go out in the mornings running. So for me, it's a little bit warmer now in the mornings, which is like a good time for me versus, the blazing hot in the middle of the day or freezing cold in the mornings. So I guess my morning temperatures are perfect right now for me.
Okay, that's all right. I thought you were crazy. I thought you were saying you liked it being over 90 in February. What are you talking about? Well, anyway, so we Arizonians, is that a word? Are dealing with our fun weather stuff. For the rest of you, where are you coming in from? Where you dialed up? Were you calling in from? However you're attending this session, drop a note in the chat. We love audience participation. We want to know, who are you? What do you do? If you can say what you do, that'd be awesome. And overall, where are you coming from? Which country? Let us know what kind of projects you're working with that are related to ransomware in any way, shape, or form. This year, we have been hyper focused on AI. Why? Because duh, which is what we said on the previous two episodes. Duh, we live in the age of AI now. In our January episode, we talked about how threat actors are leveraging AI to enable slash facilitate slash make even worse for all of us their ransomware and cyber extortion activities. In February, we had Raymond DePalma, or Ray, on to talk about cyber defenders, the other side of the coin, how they can and are using AI. And he showed his really cool GitHub repo, which is AI for the win. It's just the R DePalma project on GitHub. And this month, we have Ray back. And he's going to show us basically how to, from scratch, uh, use, I should say, how he created and implemented, overall designed, and then provided open source to all of you an AI agent to scrape intel related to ransomware and produce reports from that intel. And then you can take it from there to do whatever you want with that. The overall goal of this episode is to provide to you more hands-on training, if you will. Ray he'll be here shortly. He's generated some slides because that's what he does very quickly and wonderfully. And we'll fire through those and then kind of get to it. So the threat landscape for ransomware in general is it's becoming gross, to be honest. The number of data leak site claims. Let's go with claims. When the threat actors post, we compromised that person, and if they don't pay us, we're going to release that person's info, and so on and so forth. Or some actors just go with the whole, well, we're not going to post you unless you pay us, and then they post them. If they don't pay, and then if they still don't pay, we'll release their data, and all the fun things that these ransomware actors do. Those numbers have gone crazy. Per a chain analysis report from later last month, I guess, a week ago or so, it was a reported 50% year over year increase in the number of these claims. So there's also a number of outlets, organizations reporting that payments are down. They've been down for a while now, like a year or two. The trend for ransom payments being provided to the threat actors is still down, and in fact, quite a bit so. Coveware has a great article out on that. I'll drop the link to share in chat at some point, and Chain Analysis also makes that note. Chain analysis folks are really good at understanding that information because they're the ones who literally do the analysis of the blockchains, hence their name, chain analysis. So shout out to them. So it could be a correlation between the number of organizations who are just not paying anymore. Like, we're not going to pay you. You know, we're not gonna let you win in that regard, and thus additional data leak site postings slash claims slash data actual leaks occurring. So drop in the chat whatever questions you have as we go along. I guess I should do the normal thing. Mary is the author of Forensics 563, and her course is all about how to use AI for DFIR applications, enabling the cyber defenders, which is what we're here for today, right? Mary, what else you got going on? Give folks a little intro for anyone who may not know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Mary DeGrazia, and as we were talking about earlier, I'm based out here in Tucson, Arizona. I'm a SANS instructor where I teach 4500 Windows Forensic Analysis, Ryan's course, 4528, and then the course I've authored, 4563, which is the Applied AI for Digital Forensics. I think next month, I thought I saw someone put in here they were from Florida. I'm going to be out in Florida end of next month teaching the 4500 course. So looking forward to getting out there, maybe seeing some gators, get away from the rattlesnakes and see some gators out there while I'm there. And my day job, I work at IDX as a director of cyber response. So working the cases that Ryan's talking about, business email compromise cases, insider threats, network intrusion, all the things from a consulting perspective, my role is there. So.
Awesome. Thank you. I believe I recognize the name of that Floridian. Is that a word? I think that's the word. How you doing, by the way? So I see we have folks coming in from all over the world. We've got folks from India. We've got folks from, someone here from Glasgow in the UK. Bunch of US folks, Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Hi, how you all doing? Very, very excited to have you here for this episode. I am Ryan. I go by RJ_chap, which is funny because I don't like to be called RJ, and yet I made my entire social media persona name RJ_chap. So that makes sense. I'm the author of Forensics 528, Ransomware and Cyber Extortion. I'm the co-host of the yearly Ransomware Summit, who I, by the way, co-host with that person right there. And this year, our ransomware summit is going to be integrated with the DFIR summit. In fact, it looks like I get to co-host the whole shebang, and I can't wait to do that. I'll also be teaching Forensics 528 on site at the ransomware/DFIR summit. I guess they had the in-person event first, so it's the DFIR/ransomware summit. All right. But really excited to go hang out with all the other DFIR folks because those are my people. Those are my folks. So today we're going to have on Mr. Ray DePalma. Let's see if we could bring Ray on to the stage and say hello.
Hey Ryan, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I can see you. We're happy.
And I could hear you. This is fantastic news.
It works. This is good. Okay, and the first time you joined us, so a month ago, I told everyone that I call you Mr. AI. We're doing away with that. We have a new name.
Okay, good.
And his new name is Ray I. Simply Ray I. And if you say it quickly, it's Ray I. Huh? Get it? Oh!
I like it.
Possibly
That's awesome.
Kind of a cool name, but like with a dad joke, so Ray I have learned so much from Ray in relation to AI for all the things, like you name it, in the workplace. I'm like, hey, what would be good for this? And then boom, the tool, the service, the way to flow and go, if you will. And we asked him back and said, hey Ray, do you have any ideas for a cool project you could show that would be kind of a hands-on thing and that people could literally just go get and then take right back to their place of employment and implement and use and start learning about, more learning and fun for all the ransomware actors' silliness, but also, how can we really start to leverage AI to do these things, if they're not doing it now? And that is exactly what Ray did. So very excited to have you on, sir. Ray, give us aside from Ray I, who are you? What else do you do? What's up with you?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ryan. So I'm based up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire in the Seacoast area. For myself, I currently, as you know, I work with you, but currently with the Unit 42 engineering team, I really focus my free time and which inside and outside of work on really kind of finding the newest kind of tech. Whatever I'm avoiding, I try to tackle and kind of explore the visualizations, data science side, heavy on the LLM orchestration workflow orchestration through multi-agent systems. And when I'm not, I'm being eaten alive by my golden retriever.
That's true. That's literally last night. Wait, that was this morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah, it was.
That's how our call ended. Your dog said, nope, he's done talking to you.
See, I have a greyhound and he's completely opposite. He just lays on the couch all day, sleeps, and ignores me.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody has a greyhound, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have boxers. They just run around, bark at me, and I pretend like I'm their master when in reality, Okay, Ray. Ray cooked up this wonderful big long abstract, and I'm just gonna call it out. Like he's got all these cool notes on things. Like, man, just bring up some of the slides you generated. Let's run through them, and let's just show folks how to get hands on and have some fun.
Yeah. Let's try to speed through them and get to the demo part. All right, cool. So I'm going to share my screen.
Ray's going to share his screen out. The stage crew back there. By the way, thank you folks for always making our episodes cool. Is going to see if they can pop that sucker on the screen. And while he's doing it, so we're going to have a workflow that allows you to simply, what you're going to do is just go to GitHub. In fact, you can follow along if you'd like. And at the GitHub project, in fact, I will drop the link. Let me go over here into our chat and drop it for folks. It is AI-agent. I just typed this like 10 times this morning. Let me verify it. Yeah, that's it. All right, we have a shortened FOR528.com link that will make its way into the chats very shortly. So if you go to that URL, you will be taken to the AI-powered ransomware intelligence agent. And that is the code base that Ray whipped up. And while we're waiting, is your screen sharing out okay?
Yep.
Boom. All right. Before you even get started, Ray, how long did this take you to make?
Oh, after all your kind of feedback and it took me 2 to 3 times longer, but the general, what I'll kind of articulate is before I step into any project, I really want to sharpen the sword, have whether I'm using Claude or whether I'm using Cursor, I want to make sure I have the associated skills, the MCP servers, the connections. So with that being said, it took me about 5 hours to draft a basic workflow, which we'll talk about today, being an NAN workflow with a agent, being a Claude agent that is actually analyzing the output from ransomware.live's data feed to generate actionable and consumable reports into different formats. Then to build the repo, and then build the presentation took a couple extra hours. And then obviously you and me back and forth and distractions that, sprinkle in a few more hours there.
I'm glad I could help by giving you more work.
Absolutely, man. No, I appreciate it.
All right. Let's get into it. Fire it off, man.
Sure thing. So want to set the stage is everyone's kind of used to chat ops. We know we're paying on the front end of interacting with some, like say Claude, Cursor, or Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini. But where we really want to go is how can I orchestrate repetitive tasks and chain them through decision making, data gathering actions, hook into other tools, and how can I make this user friendly where I'm not just studying code the entire time, but rather let me start looking at the data that is analyzed by the LLM. You can still hear me, right, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Oh, you were just quiet for the first time. All right, so just a little bit about me. I'm sorry, I really didn't mean that to be funny. So just quickly about me. So I'm from New England, born and raised, besides a little stint overseas. So Yeah, just work with Unit 42 on the engineering team, spend my time on LLMs, data science, appeared on the last SANS webinar, and play with all the tools that I can get. So what we're going to cover today is really something that we're all familiar with. Is it's a 2 a.m. call, manual attribution to a threat actor or ransomware actor. Even if you have a ransomware note, we need to determine its legitimacy, who's the impact, and analyze it. And normally I'm searching through multiple different vendors and feeds and trying to stitch that. The solution is going to be a zero code NAN workflow with Claude AI. I wouldn't call it exactly zero code because I vibe coded some JavaScript for the parsing of the data. Then we'll talk through a live demo of executing the flow in a completion of 90 seconds, and then how you could get started and clone the NAM workflow either in this cloud console or on your local system itself. So as I mentioned, the 2 a.m. project problem that we encounter is I'll have, virus stole MITRE tactics. I'll have the vendor blogs and some templates from shift turnover. But really, I need to be able to start conducting attribution. And as that's continuous, seen as is progressive, especially false flag operations, I need to shift that to night shift, which could be copy and pasting from multiple different inputs and outputs and standardize a automated threat briefing. So why NAN? So this is a fair code workflow automation. It either is offered self-hosted. It's visual representation. So if you kind of take the standpoint from historical source, it's very extensible by having over 400 native integrations, but you can also build your own components. It does have a visual node workflow builder, as you could see on the right, where I take a threat briefing, add an intelligence agent, reference my Claude model if I have memory or tools, and then output it to Markdown. And it's very prominent in the field. There is other open source tools like it, but so far I've been really enjoying this. So we're going to continue on this route. So Ransomware Live, as Ryan's all familiar, and some folks may be familiar as well, is a free no-auth community-powered. Ryan, I'm going to butcher the last name, but the author,
Julian.
Okay, that was the last name. Got it. All right, so Julian. All right, so created by Julian, it tracks over 275 ransomware groups, thousands of victims feeds, and it's kind of like you could even with its extended API, or just reading in it, you can actually look at negotiation chats, which I kind of equivalent to Yelp reviews. Like, are they really underpriced or overpriced? But it's pretty interesting, especially if you're getting to the negotiation field. And what we're going to be talking about today is the V2 API of polling the recent victims. I'm redacting them for this podcast. I do have a redaction script that if you want to remove later on, you can. And then the groups around it be able to pull the TTPs around it.
Cool. Question for the audience: What are you folks using to stay abreast of these data leak site posts or claims? There's a number of tools out there. Ransomware.live is one of the ones that we all quite love. Julian is a really cool person, by the way. Shout out and /hi if you do watch this. I didn't want to butcher your last name either. So sorry about that. I should have remembered how to pronounce it. Chatted with him before at length, and absolutely great person. And this project is just phenomenal. A great human being that just puts a lot of this time forward and has some sponsorship from an organization that funds and allows all of us to no-auth API call, pull fun data down, and do cool things with it. So if anyone else is using any other systems or tools, like drop it in the chat. Let us know what you're up to. Shout out to I'll just go with the org name. ecrime.ch is a commercial system that is absolutely wonderful, very high fidelity, with it also a great API. So I don't know if he wants me to say his name. Hi out there, by the way. But ecrime.ch is a great one. Ransomware.live has, in the past, 3 or 4 years ago, I used to have a bunch of different names. And now I typically just say, you want to know auth? Ransomware.live. Like, go. So throw what you're using, and Ray, keep going.
Yeah. So what I'm going to show is a 8-step workflow. I may have expanded it since this, but pretty much very similar to SOAR or any kind of orchestration workflow is there's a trigger mechanism, whether that be a webhook, whether that be an interval timer. For this, I have a schedule every 6 hours or manual invocation, so you could throttle it on a cron job. And it does a GET request to the V2 recent victims API, and then it redacts it, replaces it with fictional data to make it recording safe. Then it has a filter where you can filter for your specific industry if you want, or non-industry. Then it'll deduplicate victims by threat actor, and then it'll enrich it by doing another GET request to the group name to fetch the actor's intelligence profiles. And then comes the AI agent, because otherwise, without this would just simply be a workflow orchestration. So now the Claude, I'm using Claude for this, so I do owe an update to the GitHub to make this compatible with Ollama 2. I do know I will do that. So right now with 4.6, I have that extract the structured TTPs from the step 2 and step 6, and via schema constrained JSON. And then I distribute through what we call a parallelization structure. So instead of a sequential 1, 2, 3, it will conduct 4 operations in parallel rather than have it subdependent. So really, I'll be very frank and vulnerable. I am not a programmer whatsoever. I am terrible at it. I'm a vibe coder. So, but what I do think is what's an interesting dichotomy that we're bringing into space is people with engineering backgrounds, not traditional DFIR, and DFIR not traditional engineering. Focus on what you're avoiding, but rather than that, use AI to focus on what you're avoiding. So that's what I did here.
Before you transition there, Mary, you've got FOR 563. I know I say FOR, and everyone else just says 4, whatever. I like to say FOR. In your course, what LLM system are you using? And I'm asking like I don't already know, and we didn't just use it in the workshop. But go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I really like about this, Ray, is that you're also integrating local LLMs, because in 563, we really focus on how to use local LLMs, because there are a lot of people out there whose companies, for whatever reason, may not feel comfortable sending data out to third-party providers. So as part of that, we use a couple of different tools to leverage the local LLMs. We use Ollama, like Ray mentioned. We also use another mechanism called VLLM to serve up the AI. So in that course, we talk about the different ways that you can have your own local LLM. So if you're in a situation where you're working for a company and you're like, wow, this workflow is great, but there's no way they're going to let me work with Claude. We don't have the API keys or the paid account. What can I do? You can still use this with a local LLM, or I guess after you push out your updates to the GitHub.
Oh yeah,
you will be able
I'll be sure.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, and I can't wait to show you how interchangeable it is once within the workflow. It's just mostly I got to format the output structure. But continuing on so how does the AI stay honest? We all wonder about hallucinations and everything. But really, I kept it in a schema constrained AI friendly format being JSON template, where I have the core field to threat level, TTPs, targeting patterns, operational intelligence, and recommendations. And then I'm using Claude to build upon that weighted risk matrix based upon those 6 factors: attack velocity, hooking and mermaid, and statistical charts, time to encrypt analysis, geographic and industry, and there's the mermaid, love mermaid chart, MITRE attack mind map, and a 24-hour redacted victim appendix.
Yeah, this is awesome, Ray. I really love how you touch on the structured outputs for LLM, because I think it's one of the most powerful tools for us in DFIR. And exactly like you pointed out, keeping those hallucinations to a minimum, right? Because sometimes we'll ask AI a question and we just want yes or no. Just tell me yes or no, right? And it rambles and it gives us 5 or 6 paragraphs, but forcing it into using a schema reduces that happening and gives you exactly what you need in order to do your work. It's a really powerful tool.
I couldn't agree more.
Wait. So you're saying you can ask AI a simple close-ended question, a yes or no question. It will ramble, type a bunch of paragraphs to you, and you have to kind of guide it to actually give you a yes or no. So it's like talking to me, basically.
And is really powerful. This is also something we cover in 4563, is it really helps your pipeline when you want to start automating things, because now you can take what the AI gave you and it's going to be structured. So it can be JSON, it could be true, it could be false. And now you can pipe that into the next step programmatically, because you're getting a definitive answer back that can be used as variables or whatever you have in your next flow. So like, for instance, if you wanted to go do some lookups, or you had a report that had IP addresses in it and you just wanted to pull the IP addresses, you can ask the AI, hey, go through this report, just pull out the IP addresses for me. And the only answer you will get back is the IP addresses. So programmatically now you can take those IP addresses and send it on to the next step in your workflow, versus if you just go to a chat dialogue window and you throw that into chat GPT or Claude and say, hey, give me the IP addresses. It's gonna be like, the IP addresses I found were this, and these were suspicious because of this, and blah, 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 blah. And then like, how are you supposed to send that on in an automated process to an API or a function call now? You can't. So with the structured data, confining it to an answer, boom, you get exactly what you want, and you can go right on to the next step in your pipeline, and it can really accelerate your process flows and what you need to do. Sorry, I just love
No. This is great, because not only is structured it for, like, we have to think about our runtime and at storage. And humans consume knowledge and structured data a whole lot differently than AI. And especially for the inputs and the outputs, to structure it in consumable formats of JSON to Markdown, JSON to HTML. All those mappings we need to be considering, especially in storage for like, if you're having a job that's pulling data and you want to store it and then pull it down to increase performance, you would be also using a structured output. Ryan, you were going spazzy for a second. Are you good?
I'm just verifying. I've checked the 101 code that I think you're going to show off. You probably already have yours innate in, but the Claude enrichment piece is not in the current repo. I wasn't sure if that was by design.
Oh, I'll double check that. The 102, my 200 workflow that I didn't introduce to it does have that. So Claude may have mixed it up.
All right, cool. Keep going.
All right. So also for this, I included in the repo a mock API server, just in case you want to air gap and test it out and like have a demo workflow with some falsified data. So you could fully air gap it and just kind of test out. Especially, I did this because Claude went down the other day. I freaked out. So I was like, well, I need to make sure that I have something running. So just in case, I have this zero dependency mock API server Pi that literally simulates the fictional data, but not actually the ransomware.live site. And then it loads the JSON through the local host, and then fully air gapped from there. So yeah, well, we're going to show. We're going to show in a bit, but really, what we're going to see is some of these example reports where I'm going to just pull it up here real quick. This is an example of the HTML, one of the report outs from the workflow, not to jump ahead, but just to give a teaser of, now we pulled some victims, redacted them, pulled the countries, industries, active groups, and used the LLM and using scripting because we want to do deterministic actions, because the LLM or AI isn't going to be doing everything. I wanted to build some visualizations, some TTP descriptions, some targeting analysis for their attack surface versus industry, operational intelligence on the RAS services like Lockbit, Play, Black Basta, and then who they're targeting in region, percentage, and risk, and then the timeline, velocity, attack life cycle. I kind of went overboard a little bit, and then the expanded redacted victim list. So we're going to show how we could get from 0 to that. So let's talk about, let's just get straight into it. Right, Ryan?
Were you going to start with
the GitHub project? Then going to show you, how to do that.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So we're going to go through. If you go to my repo, the AI-powered ransomware intelligence agent, there is an NAN workflow. Not to be confused with the demo JSON that I was going to do for the sandbox. But if you go to the 101 ransomware threat monitor JSON and you download it, you can then go to N8N. You can sign up for it either, again, in this cloud environment or have a local instance of it. I should have that in both. And then what you do is you can import from URL. What you would do is just hit this in raw format, throw it in there, or I could tie this to my Git if I wanted to. I just didn't, and then it'll import that. Or if you want to download, then you could upload it as well. So this is what the NAN workflow overall from a visual standpoint looks like. But we're going to break this down one at a time. So the first basis is that trigger mechanism that I was talking about. So every 6 hours, it's going to run a job. I'm not going to click on this because you'll see the victims, but this acts as to generate diverse fake companies by mapping some of the fake data. And then this would be the redacted data. And then what I'm using is just a JavaScript to focus on what target industries I want. You could totally modify that. As you can see here, you could use Python, JavaScript, and it's very similar based upon the inputs and outputs. So as we talked about schema, we can see the structured schema here. We could see the JSON, and you can drag and drop the elements into your code or into, say, your, how you want to do it and execute step by step to really see how the data looks like. So you understand how it's kind of structured for the next step. So then the next is after we filter based upon the industry, that is where you would filter for who you would want, is we're going to extract the unique groups. So again, JavaScript that I was vibe coding, and it's just going to take all the victims and group them for the unique groups that are targeted. So now I could see here. Okay, cool. That was just right. So Lockbit, 6 victims, and the redacted list here. Next, what we do is if the groups are found, where I'm just saying JSON victim count, so that's this, you drag it over, and then I say if it's greater than 1. So meaning if this is greater than 1, make that condition to take a conditional action of, if true, false, then no activity detected. So if it does, then it gets the group profile. So which I mentioned was a separate API call to then pass the JSON groups. So I'm dynamically taking the input of the JSON on group, so this field, and appending it to my API call, in which then I'm getting the match and return data. Then what we're going to get into is the consolidated brief. So again, JavaScript, but I want to structure this this is where I'm getting to the structure for Markdown, for Slack, all that data that I'll ultimately start working with. And now that it's structured for the AI agent, here, this is where I can see the consolidated briefs. My user prompt, I have a very basic prompt. If anyone at work was seeing me, they would yell at me for a bit. But what I was doing here is first, once you add the AI agent, actually, let me take a step back. So if I went like this, just like anything, you can add nodes. Nodes could be action and app, data transformation, flow, core. Very similar to some of the flows that we've seen before. But now I could select the AI nodes. So see here, if I want to have Olama, then I could have it message a model or analyze an image. Then I would set up the credentials for it, being the API key, the resource, whether it be an image text, the operation that I would do, the message for it. Similar for that to structure for the output. Or if I want to choose other providers, I certainly could. So that's one thing that I may do down the road. What if I want to hook in a few, be like a cursor and see how they differ for their output and then rank the score of their accuracy levels? But that's getting ahead of myself. So getting to this is I'm taking that markdown from here. I have the user prompt. Now the chat model I'm using is heavier, is just 4.6 extended thinking because I just want I want to see it flex, right? It's spring season's back. Let's see what Suns Out, Guns Out can do. So from there, you can do a lot of cool things like adding memory. So you could add a simple memory or MongoDB, a Redis, or Postgres memory. You can also use additional tools like HTTP request tool and MCP tool, or call another NAN workflow. But really right here, what I want to do is add a parser. So I want to structure that text that it's receiving, take this input schema, and then I want to define using a JSON schema. So you can see here, I can generate from JSON example or define using JSON schema. So now I could see the schema here is nice, well structured. I could see in the standardized JSON or a table format. Then the next step will be enhance the brief with AI analysis. So this is more lengthier, but this is where I want to structure it for the markdown, for the Slack language, for my next steps, like the TTPs, the regions, the recommendations. And then where it goes is it outputs to the HTML. So now it'll take this and it'll run another JavaScript. And here we go. It'll now, if I want to run this, for example, you can execute the full workflow or multi-steps. So now I'm just going to run this. And it ran these three in parallel. I did not hook up my Slack because I already don't read my emails. So I do have an AI thing scraping my own emails, trying to unscribe, but it's not enough. And a Google Doc report. But I kept it like this. So now it outputs the execute that, download the HTML. This is the HTML that I included pretty much in the output in the GitHub. It may just differ based upon how often you run it. But now I have this ransomware threat brief. Oh, actually, the one in the repo may be a little bit nicer than this. So I'll focus on, I'll update that later. But then the next would be the markdown, because I love markdown. I gotta be honest. And what you can do is even in Google Docs or like whoever you're kind of using, you can open the markdown and add it as a copy and paste as markdown. So 1 second, I'm just gonna grab this, open, and then we're gonna preview the markdown. Oh, I'm in my cursor thing. 1 second. Let me just go to the repo and pivot to the markdown that I had. And then there you go. So it will look like this. I'm just sharing my window, so not the entire screen. So it's structuring that data, doing statistics of like total victims, prior periods, trend analysis. And then you can see the AI threat analysis. So I was just kind of playing around like, hey, Mermaid, create me a TTP MITRE attack mapping. Map it out so we can see Citrix bleed and the unpatched VPN and edge firewalls. the heavy use of living off the land binaries and executions, them using Mega, Google Drive, rclone. Yeah, those are our enemies. The primary industries, geographic focus, victim profiles, operational intelligence, and then some pie charts that actually I was using Mermaid for too. They can do these. So I'm a big fan of Plotly, but I did use it for this. And then you can build some of the, even a timeline of like when the victims were progressing over the period of time, the industry breakdown based upon each of the threat actors and their attack life cycle, and this risk matrix. Ultimately, I'm going to include a QA hallucination agent. But the good thing for this is now I can see the score, the weighted score, and report this out. And then the redacted victims are here.
Folks, recall that it's all redacted victims, and if you look at his actual list, it goes through a short array. What is array? Hey Ray, how long is your array? 4 to 5 clients, something like that. What is it?
Yeah, about 10 or something. Yeah.
Okay, so for folks looking at the stats, going like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's the whole point. We don't want to, kind of do a name and shame here on the stream. We don't want to do that. So you would simply just remove that little guy, boop, boop, take it out, and then you have that. A big part of why we wanted to have Ray back on was to talk about how can folks go from I don't really use AI, but I need to start doing more ransomware stuff. I need to start tracking folks. I need to start keeping, an eye on which TTPs to look out for. I need to look into what type of things I need to do within my environment in order to further secure against ransomware and cyber extortion and yada 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 yada. This is the whole idea, right? So before I want to show you that this is as easy enough that literally I'll just bump myself with my screen share to be like, this is literally how easy it is. And then I have my API key set, I click and I go. But first, I want to toss it over to Mary and to the audience. Folks, drop any questions you have, any feedback you have. This is a vibe coded project. That's the whole point of this. All right. So if anyone's looking at this going like, wow, I already found an error in Ray's workflow, like that's not the point, man. The point is that this just took a matter of hours, and the amount of work that would go into doing this is ridiculous. This is going into HTML and Markdown, right? So some folks out there might be like, well, what about my tip and threat intelligence platform, and what about this, and what about that this is a starting point for you to go do all that, right? That's the whole point. So Mary, what do you got feedback wise? What you thinking?
Yeah, that is amazing. Even though you say, it only took you a few hours, I would assume there is some kind of base knowledge that you acquired before those 5 hours, right? Kind of like the plumber that comes over and changes a pipe in 2 minutes and charges you, $1,000. It's like, well, it was the 20 years of experience to get me there. Absolutely, AI can help speed up the process. It's a great, I'll use that term, force multiplier for us to use.
Yes.
But at the same time, I didn't want to, kind of like diminish the skill set that you had kind of walking into this to be able to do it in 5 hours as well is just, speaks to your abilities as well too.
You're absolutely right. How much time I am constantly going through Medium articles, seeing what Claude skills I can grab and what agents I could build for this. And then everything I build, I use it in my knowledge base repository being GitHub to then build upon it.
Exactly. Yeah. So doing the vibe coding, well, it speeds things up. What probably could have taken us a week or two working on troubleshooting, bug shooting, finding obscure bits of code on, overstack to then integrate into what we're doing. It's a nice tool to have for sure.
Yeah. And the last comment before Ryan steps in is that's why I always say sharpen your sword before, battle, because the more time you work on the architecture or plan phase, they have modes for that, and research the skills and MCP servers that can benefit you. It really does pay forward of getting it at beginning really reviewed, because once you start coding, then you're going to have this compounding debt of you're trying to fix this part and then refactor, then you notice this output, then you refactor, and it becomes, I don't know, compounding. I don't know the proper term of it, but I just find it's a lot easier and less stressful if you focus on up front, and it's more in your control and your review. Because when you just vibe code a prompt or say, hey, AI, create the best prompt for yourself for this, it's going to get things wrong.
Hi. Okay, check it out. I want to see, do I want to share that particular thing? I don't want to. So, all right, I have my screen sharing out, and I believe the stage crew can pop that sucker on to the stage. Hey, there we go. So this is N8N, and by the way, to the folks out there who might watch now, live or later, your platform is fantastic. It's really cool. Thank you for providing this. I saw Ray's work initially a couple days ago, right? He made it for the show, for this episode, basically, right? And I immediately was like, where do I give him money? I go, do they have a paid thing? And he's like, yeah. I was like, all right, done. I'm not trying to sell everyone right now actively. I'm like, go pay for it. And you know, they have no idea we're even doing this. See how they respond, right? Anyway, but I was like, this is such a cool tool. So check it out. I literally clicked on create workflow, right? It just says up here, my workflow. Okay, and over here, we've got Ray's repo. And by the way, Ray, earlier when I was like, hey man, it's the old version. Yeah, I was on my fork. So just don't tell anyone that, okay? I was on my fork from 3 days ago. Don't tell anyone that I did that. We won't tell the audience. Anyway, so we have his N8N workflows folder right there. So I got that guy, right? I'm gonna go click on that guy. I click it. By the way, right now, you folks will see a 101. This is the tip of the iceberg. So Ray, when you created the quote unquote this for this episode to show it off and be like, this is how easy it is to get your feet wet and like make something happen. What else did you make? What do folks not yet see?
I built a tip and two other workflows. And then after talking to you guys, I was like, okay, let's focus on one workflow at 100 level, but I have a stored 200, 300, and a tip with a chatbot built into it. And yeah, it happened.
You ask Ray, hey, can you make something cool for a 60-minute live stream? And he's like, I got you. And then he makes something. We could do like 10 webinars on this just alone. And that's, by the way, our intent and plan, whether Ray knows it or not. So, okay, I'm going to go to the 101 ransomware threat monitor. I do a little clicky click. And this is my JSON data. I want the raw. So there's a raw. I can click right here. I'm actually going to right click and go to copy link address. And I'm going to go right into my brand new workflow. And then up at the top right hand side, I'm going to go to the ellipses or the triple dots. I'm going to click on these suckers and I'm going to choose import from URL. And I'm going to feed it the direct URL. And I'm going to hit import. And hey, look, it worked. So far, so good. I got his workflow, right? Step one, done. I went to GitHub and I copied the raw is just the JSON file, right? And I just copied the link. I didn't have to download and load it. I just like, hey, go load that from Ray's GitHub. And as Ray notes, you can do a direct integration, so you don't even have to do all that. All right, just showing folks an example of the way I did it this morning and the way I'm doing it now. One thing to note is that the part right here, this guy is pretty important. The threat intelligence AI analysis portion and piece is what takes this from just, a standard SOAR style playbook that is doing what Ray, went through with us, fetching the victims via the no auth, just open, free to use API that ransomware.live provides. And by the way, Julian, you're awesome. Thank you. And does his fake company generation, and you could just remove that on your end, right? When you're not streaming and recording to YouTube, and takes the groups out and then gets group profiles from ransomware live and then builds the brief. And then this is the little magic sauce, right? So
Yep.
in the magic sauce section right here, if I go down here, which Ray had to tell me to click like 3 times because I was looking up here. I'm like, where? I don't see the chat. And he's like, it's a bubble down there. If I click on this guy, it shows me right here. I am not going to go much further into this because I don't want to show you too many details of my saved account. But that is my my Anthropic, my API information is in there, right? Which I made this morning, and easy peasy. Okay, and then of course Ray is going to do some more, tinkering and come up with some stuff for local LLMs and things of that nature. But so I've already set that, and then all I technically should have to do, we'll see, we'll do it live, right? Let's zoom out and see if we can get a status of this. I just click execute workflow. I said that far too nonchalant. I made it seem like it's too easy. So because of that, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're going to wait about maybe like 15 to 30 seconds on this one. It's just using extended thinking with 4.6. So, we really didn't need to, but I was curious. But really, all those API hooks and those data transformers, like that's all those green icons is showing it's processing through it.
And I love too, Ray, that as you were talking through your example, this kind of reminds me in coding in the way that you can take somebody else's code and then start modifying it for your particular needs. And you are already calling out things that people can start playing around with and adding in additional models, comparing the outputs to see which one works better with their workflow. If there's additional providers that you want to add into it, you can do that too. It's really cool. It's a good way to dip your toes in the water and get familiar with it without having to build something of your own from scratch. Learning it by, taking Ray's work and looking at it, understanding the flow, and then, expanding upon that.
Exactly. Steal it, use it as your base logic, then, run the /init in Cursor or Claude Code and say, I want to tweak this tool. I want to interchange this. Use it as the foundational knowledge to build it. And then boom, Ryan.
Yeah, that folks, that's the whole idea behind this, right? Like the code's up there. Go clickety click, adapt it to whatever you can. When we have, I say we. Oh, look, I'm taking credit now. When we update the repo, that's awesome, Ryan. when Ray I updates the repo and you have your fun. Sorry, my kid has a breakthrough ringer, so when my phone's on silent, if she calls, it rings anyway. So what are we talking about? When you have your Olama, you have your like that's go make a fun project. Now, speaking of which, we've got our markdown. I do the little click over here to download. We wait to see if my browser will download it without forcing me to go out of full screen mode in my browser, which I don't want to do right now.
Oh, it's going to.
I don't want it. Oh man. Come on. Well, the markdowns, you can't view it right here. I don't want to share. This browser's not set up for sharing on YouTube. Probably should have left my phone in the other room. My kid apparently needs me. She's at school right now. Uh-oh. All right, so I'm going to pause right there and kill the share. There are some questions. Let's hit a question or two and then wrap this up. Ray, you have a question here from Russell. And I can read it off. I think we'll pop it on the screen. It says that, there it is. This is great stuff. I've been building in a similar manner too and appreciate what you've done here. There's definitely something to be said for applying experience to AI as a force multiplier. And then 2 of the recent works that are launched but continue to be improved based on feedback. Cool. That's what we do here as a community, right? So, Ray, words of encouragement for Russell. What do you?
No, it's an iterative process. Like, it, and sometimes it takes a little bit to click, but when you're working it, try to fill your self-reflect of where your weaknesses are, whether that be coding, APIs, MCPs, and use AI to research and build up its knowledge base for a Claude skill, a Claude agent, to build from there. That's really where I'm focusing on. The strengths, yes, I can feel good about it, but where I'm going to be learning and exploring new areas and compelling myself is the areas that I'm avoiding. And also, sorry, I should say this. Also, hook into the MCP for like Chrome DevTools, Playwright, so you can interact with the browser and grab the debugging logs. If you could output the debugging logs to and have some logging, then I just circled those back into my coding process. So I'm not taking screenshots or examining the debugging logs.
I like that. I was in DevTools all last night for 45 minutes when I should have just pivoted to a different, method. I was like, no, I want this to work. So
Yeah.
it'll save some time. There's a question here. Might be a loaded question with only a couple minutes left in our outros. So off the top of the head, maybe one or two quick ones. The question is, any skills for Claude that you recommend?
Honestly, there's so many there, and I love the community and the resources that if you look on to like, I'm trying to think of, the Anthropic has tons of skills that just by default, I would say start there, review them, because not all of them are enabled. One versus the API, one versus the chat. Look how you can actually generate skills using the skill builder within the platform. So you could give it natural language and it can compose it. Otherwise, check GitHub for tons of other skills. I included some in my past repo, but in addition, there's superpower skills and yes, Anthropic skills too. So I would say one of those bases is just see what you can learn from the foundations of what they provide, then start identifying what they don't provide. See if you can prompt, build some of them, and then take a look at other researchers. Just do some searching, web searching, using AI to search for skills related to whether you're doing like brainstorm or document generation, other elements like that.
Thank you, Ray. And Ray, where can folks find you? I know you're not big on the socials, so what outro words? What do you got?
I got LinkedIn and I got a GitHub and a PO box. Dude, I've never done a tweet in my life, and I'm not gonna.
I was trying to tag you again this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. Okay, Mary, you've got a class coming up. You said Florida. What you got?
Florida, yep. End of this month, beginning of next month, I'll be out in Florida teaching the 4-500, and you can find the on-demand applied AI. It's on demand, so you can go do that anytime of the day that you want.
Awesome. And we've got Forensics 528 available on demand, and I will be teaching my next big teach. And by the way, it's a big one because it's a big course update that we're dropping in, what is it, October at the DFIR / ransomware summit. It'll be the first year that we're in person. Oh, Mary, hey, maybe you'll be there since you're co-chairing with the yeah.
I hope so. Yay!
Are you teaching at DFIR summit?
I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't think so. So I'll probably, I don't know what my game plan is for that yet.
All right, we'll find a way to get Ray out there too. He didn't even know yet. So, all right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you. Join us next time. We are wrapped up here with the March 2026 episode of the SANS Stay Ahead of Ransomware live stream. All right. Join us next month on the first Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And hey, we'll see you then. Thank you, Ray. We appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you all.
Thanks, Ray.
Take care.